Hello, my name is Nancy Viehmann, and I'm going to be reading today from the complete poems of Robert Service. I'll read 3 poems. Robert Service was born in 1874 in the UK, and he died in France in 1958. He worked on a ranch and as a bank teller on Vancouver Island about 6 years after the gold rush. He became fascinated with life in the Yukon, and his writings and his poetry earned him the reputation of Bard of the Yukon. My first poem is one of his most famous. The Cremation of Sam McGee. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lake Labarge I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the South to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold! Through the Parker's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd close, then the lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me and, "Cap," says he, "I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking you that you won't refuse my last request." Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, "It's the cursed cold, and it's got right hold, till I'm chilled clean through the bone. Yet 'tain't being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that, foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains." A pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. As we started on a streak at dawn, but God, he looked ghostly pale. He crouched on the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, "You may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate those last remains." Now, a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, with the huskies round in a ring, howled out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, how I loathed that thing. And every day the quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in. And I'd often sing to the hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin. Till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then, "Here," said I with a sudden cry, "is my crematorium." Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared and the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. And I borrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why, and the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out and they danced about ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. Then the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see for a mile. And he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, and I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest thing they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lake LaBarge I cremated Sam McGee. The next poem is not from the Yukon, but it's called The Joy of Being Poor. Let others sing of gold and gear, the joy of being rich, but oh, the days when I was poor, a vagrant in a ditch, when every dawn was like a gem, so radiant and rare, but I had but a single coat and not a single care, when I would feast right royally on bacon, bread, and beer, and dig into a stack of hay and doze like any peer. When I would wash beside a brook my solitary shirt, and though it dried upon my back, I never took a hurt. When I went romping down the road contemptuous of care, and slapped adventure on the back, by God, we were a pair. When though my pockets lacked a coin, and though my coat was old, the largest of the stars was mine, and all the sunset gold. When time was only made for fools, and free as air was I, and hard I hit and hard I lived beneath the open sky, when all the roads were one to me, and each had its allure, ye gods, these were the happy days, the days when I was poor. Or else again, old pal of mine, do you recall the times you struggled with your storyettes? I wrestled with my rhymes. Oh, we were happy, were we not? We used to live so high, a little bit of broken roof between us and the sky. Upon the forge of art, we toiled with hammer and with tongs. You told me all your ripping yarns. I sang to you my songs. Our hats were frayed, our jackets patched, our boots were down at heel. But oh, the happy men we were, although we lacked a meal. And if I sold a bit of rhyme, or if you placed a tale, what feasts we had of tenderloins and apple tarts and ale. And yet, how often would we dine as cheerful as you please, beside our little friendly fire on coffee, bread, and cheese. We lived upon the ragged edge, and grub was never sure, but oh, those were the happy days, the days when we were poor. Alas, old man, we're wealthy now. It's sad beyond a doubt. We cannot dodge prosperity. Success has found us out. Your eye is very dull and drear. My brow is creased with care. We realize how hard it is to be a millionaire. The burden's heavy on our backs. You're thinking of your rents. I'm worrying if I'll invest in 5 or 6%. We've limousines and marble halls and flunkies by the score. We play the part. But say, old chap, oh, isn't it a bore? We work like slaves, we eat too much, we put on evening dress. We're everything a man could want, I think, but happiness. Come, let us sneak away, old chum. Forget that we are rich, and earn an honest appetite, and scratch an honest itch. Let's be two jolly garreteers up 7 flights of stairs, and wear old clothes and just pretend we aren't millionaires, and wonder how we'll pay the rent, and scribble ream on ream, and sup on sausages and tea, and laugh and loaf and dream. And when we're tired of that, my friend, oh, you will come with me, and we will seek the sunlit roads that lie beside the sea. We'll know the joy of the gypsy knows, the freedom nothing mars, the golden treasure gates of dawn, the mintage of the stars. We'll smoke our pipes and watch the pot and feed the crackling fire and sing like 2 old jolly boys and dance to heart's desire. We'll climb the hill and ford the brook and camp upon the moor. Old chap, let's haste. I'm mad to taste the joy of being poor. And the third poem is a short one called My Masterpiece. It's slim and trim and bound in blue. Its leaves are crisp and edged with gold. Its words are simple, stalwart too. Its thoughts are tender, wise and bold. Its pages scintillate with wit. Its pathos clutches at my throat. Oh, how I love each line of it. That little book I never wrote. In dreams I see it praised and prized by all from plowman and unto peer. It's pencil marked and memorized. It's loaned and not returned, I fear. It's worn and torn and travel-tossed, and even dusky natives quote that classic that the world has lost, the little book I never wrote. Poor ghost, for homes you've failed to cheer, for grieving hearts uncomforted, don't haunt me now. Alas, I fear the fire of inspiration's dead. A humdrum way I go tonight, from all I hoped and dreamed remote. Too late, a better man must write that little book I never wrote. Thank you.